New York Post. So you said earlier that you don't see a surrender happening anytime soon when it comes to Ukraine and Russia. Putin says he will accept nothing less than an unconditional surrender, but if this latest intensive push for peace talks fails, is there anything that the U.S. can do to make Russia want to end its war? And then secondly, some of the most major foreign policy issues from Venezuela, uh, Iran, Ukraine, Israel, have been assigned special envoys who do not report directly to the State Department, which obviously has a larger view of how these conflicts affect each other. How intimately has State been involved with these envoys' strategies and actions this year? And do you see State taking a larger role in these kind of day-to-day negotiations?
I disagree with the premise of your question. I mean, every envoy that's been involved in all these critical issues, I personally work with very closely. I talk to them 4 or 5 times a day, or meet with them, or they're in the White House, or they're here, primarily in the White House, or they're involved in the same meetings we're involved in. I mean, that's just not factual. No one is out there doing independent action. All of it is strongly coordinated. It's one of the benefits of also being the National Security Advisor is it allows us to also organize the interagency. Every single one of these envoys, I speak about Steve Woodcock in particular, who's a phenomenal person, very smart, very talented, who dedicates, he doesn't get paid to do this job, he does it for free. And he invests a tremendous amount of time, full time on this thing, traveling all over the world, doing all kinds of things. Okay, but Steve doesn't do anything independently. He relies on the interagency. He gets support from Treasury, sometimes from Commerce, certainly from the Department of War, and from the State Department. In fact, he's staffed in many of these visits by State Department folks, and including the ones in Miami, especially as we get to the technical parts of these agreements. So the synergy there is very tight across the board. And so I think that that's not factual.
I was referring to Envoy Grinnell with Venezuela and some of those conflicts earlier this year that really kind of weren't helpful in getting towards the release of the prisoners.
Look, everything that's been done in this administration has been coordinated in some form or fashion. I mean, you guys don't see it all because I know everybody wants foreign policy to be 100% transparent, but sometimes it really can't be. Because there are sensitivities, because there are diplomatic sensitivities, because things people are willing to agree to in private, they may not be willing to do so in public. There's all kinds of things that have to happen in order to achieve outcomes. Sometimes they work, sometimes certain approaches work, sometimes they don't. But that's not new to this administration. That's been true throughout history. And but at the end of the day, I mean, I feel like we have a very good team of people that work very closely together on all of this. And the key is every single one of these conflicts, every single one of these issues are all multidisciplinary. Okay? There is no such thing as any one of these things that we're dealing with. Again, going back to the case, let's just use Ukraine as an example. In the case of Ukraine, it involved Treasury with regards to the minerals deal. It involves Commerce to some extent. It most certainly involves the Department of War in terms of not just battlefield assessments, but the sale of weaponry through Pearl, et cetera. It involves the Department of State in terms of everything from interpreters to the technical work of actually putting words to paper that would make sense in an agreement and supporting these visits. We had a very important meeting in Geneva, hosted at our embassy, supported by diplomatic personnel that were involved in doing that, and a lot of the follow-up as well that has to happen with some of these things. You know, peace deals aren't just, in the case of Gaza, strongly supported. We took our ambassador in Yemen, who can't be in Yemen, Fagan, and assigned him for 8 weeks on that portfolio so that we could have someone there to help navigate and coordinate all of the technical aspects. You can reach a peace agreement in concept, but then someone's got to sit down and write down the technical language and the specificity, and they rely on the professionals in this department and other government agencies, depending on the subject matter. So, look, I think in any new administration, there's a learning curve early on. People are still getting onboarded. You may not even have people Senate confirmed yet in these positions. Maybe you haven't even hired some unfilled spots. But I think certainly in the second half of last year, I'm very proud and very pleased at the synergy that we've established on all of these things and that continue to establish it. Another one that's doing a great job is Mossad Boulos. I mean, he's out there every day working with our Africa Bureau. They're very involved in this, on trying to deal with Sudan, on trying to deal with the Rwanda DRC. So we have a good team of people that work very well together and very collaboratively, and we're going to build on that in the new year. Yes, ma'am.